No way! Does Eccleston appear at the end of this clip? I've never watched this before.
It's for you across time and space. I don't have my sonic screwdriver. What I do have is this. Wow. Take that! Nice work. See you later.
Oh, wow. Shucks, we can get his autograph.
Can you just imagine, if you will, you're just going throughout your general day, Christopher Eccleston appears and uses a Blue Peter badge to destroy your compost bin.
No.
This is canon. This is indisputably canon. Now we know how he won the last Great Time War. He just casually has a disintegrate. He does, and it's a Blue Peter badge. I have that. I have Blue Peter badges. I didn't know they could do that.
Take that.
It's the way he says, take that.
Take that. Take that. Take that.
It's the way he says it. I'm crying. Is this from 2005? There's no way you're getting Eccleston to do this after 2005. I'm sure that the Blue Peter presenters and those kids and Eccleston had an amazing day filming this. But I just like to think Eccleston appeared, destroyed the bin and left, and there was no other interaction. There was no other engagement with anyone else on that location.
Take that.
God. 1 second. Right. 1 second. I need to find the clip. 2 seconds. This will be so funny if I get this right. 1 second. When does it happen? There's a really funny... I don't want to say funny. There's a really good edit in Babel Color's Time War video when he uses the hairdryer in Dalek to destroy a group. Here we go. It's this bit in his Babel Color's Time War video.
By fighting on the front line.
Okay, now 1 second. Let me time this right.
I don't have my sonic screwdriver. What I do have is this. Take that. Nice work. See you later.
That's how he won the last Great Time War. Oh, God. Oh, I need a minute. Go come and check your DM. I'm in no position to go through my DMs. In the name of peace and anti-plastic. Oh my God.
Take that. Nice work. See you later.
Oh, wow. Shucks.
Eccleston, what band was Gary Barlow and Robbie Williams a part of?
Take that.
Last week we got confirmation from Big Finish Productions that Christopher Eccleston would be returning for a third series of Ninth Doctor audio adventures. He has had 2 series comprising of 4 box sets apiece, 3 stories each, 12 episodes series. So basically we've had 2 brand new seasons with the Ninth Doctor, with a third one on the way. And the first volume is due for release in May 2023. After 2 fun-filled audio series, the acclaimed actor isn't ready to hang up his leather jacket just yet and will return in 12 more stories told across 4 box sets, beginning with Pioneers, which is going to be dropping in May. We've got the stories confirmed, no plot synopsis, but we've got the stories and the writers. The Green Gift by Roy Gill, Northern Lights by Robert Valentine, and The Beautiful Game by Catherine Armitage. Christopher Eccleston said, the series is brilliantly varied in tone and content. It feels just as fresh as when we started on the first audio series. We're a well-oiled machine now. Producer David Richardson said, picture this, we're on a short break in recording the Ninth Doctor Adventures. Chris pops over to the control desk, gets out a blue Peter badge, shouts, take that now. No, sorry. Chris pops over to the control desk and asks our engineer to put on some Barry White songs on the speakers. Out blares the music and Chris starts dancing around the room. Our director Helen Goldwyn then joins in, dancing away at the director's station while gradually everyone gets in the rhythm and starts to sway. For a good 5 minutes, the Ninth Doctor studio is lost in music. I share this because it sums up for me what it's like working on these productions. Everyone is so relaxed and there's just an infectious sense of fun and energy. If we want to dance, then we're going to dance. I think it's significant because all of that energy and joy ends up right there in the episodes. We're just having the time of our lives. So, yeah, I'm very, very glad that Christopher Eccleston, after the bad experience that he had in 2005 working with the BBC under Russell T Davies, Phil Collins and Julie Gardner, making those 13 episodes, that he now has a part of the Doctor Who experience, being the Ninth Doctor again, with positivity attached to it. Because he's a professional. He'll turn up to the Big Finish recording booths, he'll do the job, he'll give a great performance, and then that'll be that. Like, worst case scenario. But the fact that he has now done 3 seasons of the Ninth Doctor Adventures with Big Finish, and he's had a very, very good time, I think that means something, and I think it's really, really great that he has this positivity now associated with playing the character. We also know that later on this year, presumably in the Once and Future event, which we know he's in the Once and Future event, he's apparently recorded some scenes with the late David Warner as the Unbound Doctor, so we'll have to see how that pans out for the 60th anniversary Big Finish Diamond Anniversary special. But I wanted to talk about my concerns with the Ninth Doctor range moving forward, because honestly, when it comes to all of these sets, from Ravagers, Respond to All Calls, Lost Warriors, Old Friends, Back to Earth, Into the Stars, Hidden Depths and Shades of Fear, there's not a single bad box set amongst them. I think there's a couple of weak ho-hum stories. Like, I'm not overly fussed about the Shakespeare story in Lost Warriors, although that last year won like an audio award, so what the hell would I know? The funeral story in Old Friends I thought was okay, but kind of but sort of like lost its way in the end. And also stories in like Hidden Depths. I didn't think the Sea Devil story was particularly interesting. However, there are significantly way more hits than there are misses, and even then the misses are just a little bit ho-hum. But what I've really started to notice, unfortunately, with the second series of the Ninth Doctor Adventures, is that the Ninth Doctor is a kind of stagnating as a character. Now, the performances have been terrific. Christopher Eccleston has really thrown himself back into the role with a real enthusiasm, a real joy, a real vigour, and it completely, absolutely comes across when you're listening to the box set. Whether he's doing something epic like running across the Sontaran battlefield at the end of Salvation 9, which is the first story in Into the Stars, or he's having really intimate moments at the end of Back to Earth in Auld Lang Syne, which is a really wonderful, intimate character piece, and probably the best Doctor Who New Year's Day special that we've ever had in the history of the show. Auld Lang Syne's an absolute banger. All of these things, I can't fault the performance, and the writing has been really, really great. However, what's happening is that these Ninth Doctor sets presumably are taking place before the events of Rose, and I'm going to give a couple of spoilers, mainly for Shades of Fear and Ravagers. So nothing that's like going to ruin the enjoyment of these stories, but kind of showing what the status quo is after those box sets. So mild spoiler warning for those 2 box sets. So Ravagers sees the Ninth Doctor team up with a companion surrogate called Nova, and Nova is played by Camilla Beeput, and she does a really good job in this box set. However, Nova never appears again, despite Ravager's ending with the Ninth Doctor inviting her on board the TARDIS to become a companion. At the end of Shades of Fear, the latest Ninth Doctor box set, we've got Callan Lennox, who's played by a friend of the livestream, Adam Martin, who does a really good job in this box set. It's really, really cool. However, Shades of Fear ends with the Ninth Doctor inviting Callan Lennox to become a companion on board the TARDIS. And we've had no confirmation for Series 3 of Callan Lennox or Nova or any other character is going to be returning for these stories. But basically, we've had stories that end 2 box sets in these 2 seasons, which end with the Ninth Doctor recruiting a companion, and then it's never been followed up on. Obviously, in Shades of Fear, it's not had chance to be followed up on, but we don't know anything about the future of the set yet, of course. What these box sets seem to be implying is that there is a brand new set of companions for the Ninth Doctor, other than Rose Tyler, other than Adam Mitchell, other than Captain Jack. But it's not following up on this. And when it comes to the Ninth Doctor meeting former companions or former friends, he meets the Brigadier and old friends, he meets Helen and Liv at the end of Hidden Depths in Flat Pack by John Dorney. These are Big Finish stranded companions, Eighth Doctor companions. Both box sets, both stories have the same issue, where the Ninth Doctor has been through a hell of a lot since they last saw their respective companions, whether it's the Brigadier or Liv and Helen. Basically the Time War. He's been traumatized and aged and jaded by this experience that's caused him to regenerate and have a brand new outlook on life, for the universe and everything. But it's never really explored or followed up on. Liv and Helen and the Brigadier can kind of sense that something's a bit different about the Doctor. There's a great line in Old Friends where the Brigadier says, "A Doctor with a buzz cut, I never would have imagined. You look like a soldier." And the Ninth Doctor's like, "Don't." And then that's kind of it. That's basically the furthest that Old Friends goes when it comes to exploring the Brigadier and the Ninth Doctor, and whether or not there is some sort of issue that the Ninth Doctor might have with the Brigadier, or maybe some common ground because of, he has now become a warrior. He was the Doctor of War in his last incarnation. It's never been followed up on, and it's never been properly addressed, and it actually serves as a detriment to the story. Now, thankfully, the Cyberman 2-parter, where the Ninth Doctor meets the Brigadier, and the Flat Pack story where the Ninth Doctor meets Liv and Helen, the A-plots of those stories are really effectively done. Like, the Flat Pack story is really great, particularly really clever use of the audio medium, especially when it comes to the casting and the voice acting of its central leads. Flat Pack is really, really good. I really enjoyed that. And the Cybermen story is terrific. It's one of the best Big Finish Cybermen stories in recent years. Genuinely a really awesome 2-parter, which takes place around the Firth of Forth in Scotland. Really good stuff. However, because you don't have the character stuff with the Brigadier and Liv and Helen, it means that the B-plots, or the emotional subtext with the character and the dynamics and the reunions, isn't really there. And I think that that's emblematic of the Ninth Doctor and Big Finish at the moment. We've got really strong stories, really good characters performed exceptionally well, but the characters are jogging in place. We have now had 2 seasons of the Ninth Doctor in these Big Finish box sets where he's been companionless, apart from all of the companion surrogates, and because you have so many companion surrogates in these box sets, basically almost every single story starts with these companion surrogates or supporting characters finding the TARDIS or finding the Ninth Doctor in an unconventional situation. For example, the first story, Colour of Terror, which opens in a charity shop. It's basically, one of the shop owners opens the dressing room curtain and the blue box is there, or the Ninth Doctor is in there as well. Basically the Ninth Doctor appears in a scenario, or the TARDIS appears in a scenario that you wouldn't conventionally expect. But it happens so many times and happens so consistently that it kind of loses its luster because you have to reintroduce the Ninth Doctor all the time. You don't have to do that with a companion. And I think, honestly, we've had so many stories with the Ninth Doctor apparently pre-Rose that you can basically just throw canon out of the window now. These Big Finish box sets are mainly selling themselves on the idea that it's the Ninth Doctor, business as usual. And I think that's an effective selling point, but it can only take you so far in this format. We've had 2 seasons as a terrific proof of concept, although personally I think just the 1 season could have been a proof of concept. But I think for the Ninth Doctor now, Big Finish needs to bite the bullet and do one of 2 things. 1, just pay Billie Piper whatever she's asking and have some new adventures with Christopher Eccleston and Billie Piper as the Ninth Doctor and Rose, or commit to a brand new companion surrogate, like they seem to imply they were going to do with Callan and Nova. Nova, when did this come out? This was nearly 2 years ago. We've not seen or heard from Nova since, despite 8 box sets coming out over the past 2 years. And of course, like I said, with Callan, it was just the last box set, the last story of the last box set, so we haven't had any time to confirm whether or not they are going to be having more adventures with the Ninth Doctor and Callan. Doyle the Talking Dog as well. That would be the Ninth Doctor, Callan, and a talking dog called Doyle. Sounds like the best TARDIS team imaginable. And I think Big Finish really needs to bite the bullet and do one of those two things. Aidan Woodhead in the chat has given us an option 3. I think the Ninth Doctor at this point needs a Dark Eyes or Dalek Universe serialized story. Actually, that's a really good point. Something like Ravagers, where it is just a box set that is a 3-part epic story, that's a good third option. I'm a bit apprehensive about them going back in the direction of like Dark Eyes or Doom Coalition, where you have a quadrilogy of quadrilogies, because as I think Big Finish have learnt the hard way when trying to acclimatise an audience to their niche audio range, that is very, very intimidating. There's a reason I've not listened to that much Eighth Doctor and Big Finish, because though the idea of committing to 16 box sets to tell story after story after story is incredibly intimidating. And these Ninth Doctor sets, I would bet real actual cash hardcore money that these Big Finish box sets have been a genuine jumping on point for the company, for new customers to jump into this corner of the Doctor Who universe, that people have listened to Ravagers or Old Friends or Respond to All Calls or whatever Ninth Doctor set and have fallen in love with them and have explored other areas of the Big Finish catalogue. So I can understand why they wouldn't want to commit to a format like they have done with the Eighth Doctor, because that would just turn away that audience. I think that they should avoid that. However, there is a middle ground here. I think either they should bring back Billy Piper and have Eccleston and have Christopher Eccleston and Billy Piper do some box sets together, or they just give him a new full-time companion, like they've done with the Sixth Doctor with Mel and Hebe for the new range of Sixth Doctor adventures, like they've done with the 11th Doctor and Valerie, played by Sophia Ingar. Those are terrific box sets, and those are really, really great companions. I don't want to give the impression that I have disliked the second series of the Ninth Doctor adventures. Far from it. Auld Lang Syne, Flat Pack, Salvation 9, and Lay Down Your Arms, genuinely great stories, as well as Red Darkness and The Colour of Terror. I think out of these 4, the best overall box set is Shades of Fear, but I do think that Back to Earth and Into the Stars have the best individual story. But also, like in the chat, Frobisher, I want more Frobisher stories. Actually, that's a good idea. Get Frobisher the Penguin in. That way you've got a Ninth Doctor with a companion who isn't going to take away from the potential emotional arc with Rose. You could even use this opportunity to expand on the Ninth Doctor's characterization after the Time War. Maybe he recruits a companion, and it turns out, no, it was too soon. I was not ready to open up properly again after the events of the Time War. Or maybe at the end of the season or the end of the box set, he opens up to the companion about what he did, who he killed, what he had to do, the unspeakable crimes that he did as his previous incarnation, the War Doctor, and then the companion decides to lay down judgment, really throw everything back in the Doctor's face, and then leave. That would be such a powerful ending, and it also means that you're not really stepping on the toes of the Ninth Doctor and Rose. That rhymes. Like I said, I think Season 1 did a great proof of concept of the Ninth Doctor on his own. I think Respond to All Calls is the best story, is the best box set to demonstrate that. I don't think you could have a story as good as Girl Deconstructed by Lisa McMullen with the Doctor with a companion. I think there would be too much extra stuff around the periphery. And Planet of the End, the Doctor needs to be on his own for that story. However, for other ones, I think the formula is starting to repeat itself. The formula is starting to wear a bit thin, and especially now that we have had almost 2 years of consistent Ninth Doctor material from Big Finish in these box sets. Like I said, we've had 24 stories over the past 2 years. Really good stories, but now we have the proof of concept. The novelty has worn off, even if the quality is still up there. We now need to start shifting and changing the formula. As you're going to compose a Girl Deconstructed is absolutely impeccable. I adore that story with all my heart. Yeah, I remember in the interviews as well for that box set, Eccleston saying how much he loved that story and how much he wishes that it would have been adapted for TV. But yeah, Respond to All Calls is so good.